Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel Revealing Concepts. In today's class, we will be solving a problem using section formula. If you haven't watched my previous video of the section formula, then I would request you to watch that and then do come and watch this video. Now let's start. Before starting the problem, I would want to tell you what we did in the last class. We started with the section formula. We saw what is section formula, and we also used it to calculate the points in the point of division. Basically, the point that divides the line segments into two parts or more than two parts, right? So the section formula for any particular line is P of xy equals to mx2 plus nx1 upon m plus n and my2 plus ny1 upon m plus n, where the first term is corresponding to the x coordinate of the point of division and the second term is the y coordinate of the point of division, right? In today's class, we would be using the section formula. The problem would be of the similar kind, but it is we are just going to step up, or the problem would be of a little higher level, right? So the question says that find the ratio in which the line segment joining A 1, minus 5 and B minus 4, 5 is divided by the x-axis. Also find the coordinates of the point of division. Now here, if you see, the question says that you have to find the ratio in which the line segment joining by these 2 points is divided by the x-axis, and after that you are supposed to find the coordinates of the point of division. So first you are supposed to find the value of m and n, which would give you the value of m is to n, that is the ratio in which the line gets divided, and then you are supposed to find the actual coordinates of the point of division. So if at all in exam such type of question comes wherein you are supposed to find the ratio as well as the point of division, that is the x coordinate and y coordinate of the point of division, then you have to follow the 3-step approach that I have written over here. So what does the 3-step approach include? Here if you see, step number 1 in this particular problem where you have to solve for the ratio and for the coordinates of the point is you have to take the ratio to be k is to 1. So in the beginning, step number 1 would be assume that the line gets divided in the ratio k is to 1. This is same for any kind of problem of this type where you are asked to find the ratio and you have been given the 2 endpoints of the line. Then you have to use the section formula, of course, and you get the value of k. Once you get the value of k, you have to substitute it over here and you would get the value of the ratio, that is m is to n. So this is your part 1 of this question where you would be getting the value for the ratio in which the line gets divided. Now for the part 2 of the question and step 3 of this approach is you need to substitute the values that you have got of m and n from step number 2, and you have to again use the section formula to get the point of division. So once that you have got the values of m and n, you have to again substitute it in the section formula and get the point coordinates for the point of division. So once again I would repeat the steps. First step is k is to 1. Take the ratio to be k is to 1. Now that you have taken the ratio to be k is to 1, substitute the value of m as k, n as 1 and the coordinates, that is the endpoints that are given to you in the section formula. Then once you solve the section formula, you would get the value for k. Once that you have got the value for k, then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to substitute the values of m and n to get the points of division. Now let's start with the problem. So the solution according to step number 1. Now again these steps are written for your understanding so that you would be able to recollect the process. You're not supposed to mention these steps in the exam. This is for your understanding purpose. So take the ratio to be k is to 1. Now your actual solution starts. So let the line AB gets divided in the ratio k is to 1. Let the line AB gets divided in the ratio k is to 1. This implies that m is equals to k and n equals to 1. Right? Now, we know that our first endpoint, that is A, which is x1 comma y1, is nothing but 1 comma minus 5, right? And our B is x2 comma y2, that is our next endpoint, and the value for B, or the coordinates of B, are 4 comma minus 4 comma 5. Now you are supposed to use the section formula. So by section formula, we get P of x comma y, where P of x comma y would be the point of division, is equal to m into x2 plus n into x1 upon m plus n. I hope you remember the trick that I didn't mention in the last class, that since this is the first coordinate and first coordinate is always x, that is why you would be using x1 and x2. And since you are mentioning m comes first, so in the second place you would be having x2. That is how you would be remembering the first term. Once you remember the first term, the second term is very easy. After m comes n, and if x2 is used over here, then of course x1 would be used over here. The denominator is same for both the terms, that is m plus n. Likewise, you are supposed to use y2 and y1 over here, since this is the value for the y coordinate. So P of xy now would be equal to, we are going to substitute the values for m, n, x1 and x2, y1 and y2. So m in this case is k, n is 1, x1 is 1, x2 is minus 4, y1 is minus 5, y2 is 5. So let's substitute it. M is k, x2 is minus 4, plus n is 1 and x1 is 1 upon k plus 1. Likewise, m into y2 plus n into y1 upon m plus n. So again here a value of m is k, and y2 over here is 5 plus n is 1 and y1 over here is minus 5 upon k plus 1. So that is equal to, k into minus 4 is minus 4k plus 1 upon k plus 1, and 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1. So now we have got point P x comma y as this. Okay. If you see, we have got P of xy as minus 4k plus 1 upon k plus 1, comma 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1. Now this is your point of division. You did use the fact that these are the two endpoints. There is some other information that is given in this problem, and it is not given just for the sake of it, but you have to use it. So if you try to see a different information that has been given into this problem, it is that the question says that find the ratio in which the line segment joining AB is divided by the x-axis. This time the question is to find the point of division, but they have given you that the line is divided by the x-axis. It is divided by the x-axis, meaning let's say you have this line and this line is divided by the x-axis. This is your x-axis. This is your line A, B, and they are saying that there is some point that lies on the x-axis. I'm not saying some point of some point that is a part of the corresponding x coordinate. I'm not talking about that. They are saying that the x axis is the line that divides this line segment into two parts. So if the x axis is dividing the line AB into two parts, it means that there is a point on the x-axis that is actually the point of division, because here they have clearly given that it is the x-axis that is dividing the line. So if x-axis is dividing the line, it means that the point of division which we intend to find is basically a point on the x-axis, and we all know any point on the x-axis, this is a basic geometrical part that we all know, that any point on the x-axis, let's say if this is your x-axis and if this is your origin, let's say, then this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and so on. So any point on the x-axis would have all the x coordinates as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -1, -2, and so on. But here the y coordinates of the point of x-axis are always 0, because here if you see, you are considering just the points on the x-axis. So the points on the x-axis or the coordinates of any point on the x-axis would have some x value, but the y value would always be 0. So the general notation for any coordinate of the point on the x-axis is always x comma 0. Likewise, if any point is given on the y-axis, then its coordinates are y comma 0. My dear students, you all need to understand one thing. There's a difference between point, there's a difference between the word coordinate. When I say a point, it means that I'm exactly talking about this point. And when I say coordinates, it means that I'm talking about the position of this coordinates in terms of its x value and its y value. So when I say a point on the x-axis, meaning I'm talking about, let's say, this point, and when I ask you what are its coordinates, then since it is a point on the x-axis, it means that it is generally represented in the form x comma 0, where x is basically the point that it is on the x-axis, and why the y coordinate is 0, because it's a point on the x-axis. Always a point on the x-axis has got y coordinate as 0, and a point on the y coordinate has got x coordinate as 0. I hope you all are clear with this. Yes? Now that you have understood why exactly the x-axis, the word x-axis is mentioned over here, let us try to use this fact in the given problem. So, P of xy, we have got it to be this thing. Now we know that this point of division is a point that lies on the x-axis, and hence we can say that P of xy ka general representation would be x comma 0. We don't know what is x ka value, but we know one thing, that a y coordinate is for sure 0 because it's a point on the x-axis. And how did we get that? We get that because it is given over here that this line is divided by the x-axis. If the line AB is divided by the x-axis, it means that it is divided by a point on the x-axis. And if it is divided by the point on the x-axis, it means that the point of division is nothing but x comma 0. So we are going to use the given fact that since the line AB is divided by the x-axis, hence the point of division would be x comma 0. A very important part of this question, right? I would write here step number 2, because this is where you have used your section formula. Okay, so this line is very important because here you are actually making use of the fact that the line is divided by the x-axis. Okay, so now what we are going to do, instead of writing pxy, we are just going to directly write x comma 0, because we know that at least the general representation of this coordinate of this point of division is x comma 0. So therefore x comma 0 now becomes equal to minus 4k plus 1 upon k plus 1 comma 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1, right? So now what you're supposed to do? Here if you see, you have a tuple form on this side, you have a tuple form on the right hand side as well. Now let's say in the form of equation, if you have something like this, it is very easy. You just move 2 on the other side, you get the answer for the value of x, right? But this is not an equation. This is where you're equating two coordinates with each other. Now what you're supposed to do when you have tuples on both the sides of the equality sign, you are going to equate your x coordinate with the x coordinate and y coordinate with the y coordinate, right? So when you equate your x coordinate with the x coordinate and y coordinate with the y coordinate, then you would get the required value. Now I would want to tell you one thing. Why are we doing these steps? Our main aim is to calculate the value of k, is to calculate the value of m, right? So what we are going to do is, always over here we are going to take the y coordinate and equate it with y coordinate. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to get the value of k. Now you would say, why didn't you take the first coordinate? Why didn't you take the x coordinate? I did not take x coordinate because if I equated x with this value, there would be two unknowns in the equation. What are the two unknowns? It would be x as well as k. But since my aim is to find the value of k, therefore in the equality I should just have one unknown, and that is why what I would be doing is, I would be writing, therefore 0 is equal to 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1. How did I get this? Again I'll tell you, when you write two coordinates that are equal to each other, it means that the x coordinate on this side is equal to the x coordinate on the other side, and the y coordinate on the left hand side is equal to the y coordinate on the right hand side. So here, since I want to find the value of k, my aim is to find the value of k, hence I won't be taking the x coordinate, because if I take the x coordinate and write in this form, there would be two unknowns, x and k. Hence we wouldn't be able to get our required answer. That is why I am taking the y coordinate. I would be equating 0 with 5k minus 5 upon k plus 1. Now it is pretty simple. This is in the form of an equation in one variable. I would shift this term over here. So again 0 into anything is 0. So I would get 0 equals to 5k minus 5. Now I want to find the value of k. So I would shift 5 over here. So I'll get 5 equals to 5k. That is 5 and 5 get cancelled. So here comes 1. So our k ka value is 1. Now if k value of k is 1 and we have considered the ratio to be k is to 1, it means that the line gets divided in the ratio 1 is to 1, because k over here is m and 1 is your n. So therefore the line gets divided in the ratio m is to n. With this, we got the value for the ratio m is to n, which is, I'm so sorry, it is divided in the ratio 1 is to 1. Now, why did I write 1 is to 1? Because we already know that here we have 1, so there is nothing to find. We are supposed to find the value of k, and we got the value of k as 1. So, the line gets divided in the ratio 1 is to 1. Are we done with the question? No, we are still supposed to find the point of division. That is part 2 of the question and step 3 of the approach. So now let's start with step number 3. I'll be writing step number 3 over here. So again, in step number 3, what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to substitute the value of m and n to get the point of division. Now, where you're supposed to substitute the value of m and n? We know that the point of division is this, right? So, I'll be writing this statement as A. Okay, and always after getting the value of the ratio, we are going to substitute this over here in this equation, because finally this is a point of division, right? So substituting m equals to 1, or you would say substituting k equals to 1 in equation A. This is just for your understanding. Okay. We can write, we get x comma 0 is equal to, directly just substitute the value for k, which is 1. 4 into 1 plus 1 upon 1 plus 1, comma 5 into 1 minus 5 upon 1 plus 1. So that is equal to 4 into 1 is 1. 4 into 4 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 1 plus 1 is 2. 5 into 5 into 1 is 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 by 2. So that is equal to 5 by 2 comma 0. So this is your point of division. Of course, the y coordinate would be 0. Now, why is the y coordinate 0? The y coordinate is 0 because the line gets divided by which axis? It gets divided by the x axis. Therefore, you can conclude it in this manner. The point of division is 5 by 2 comma 0, where this is your x coordinate and this is your y coordinate. So to once again just give you an overview of what we have done, the question was, you were being given a line segment and you were asked to find the ratio in which the line segment gets divided. One additional information was given to you, that the line segment was divided by x-axis. Okay, now this is the point which you should remember and use it in the later stage. We use the three-step approach, wherein first we calculated the value for k by considering the ratio to be k is to 1, where your m would be k and your n would be 1. So we took the ratio to be k is to 1. Then we said that m is your k and n is your 1. You use the section formula, which is your step number 2. After using the section formula, you got something like this. This is the point where you get stuck. Once you get stuck, again you should move back to your question and see whether any additional information is given to you or not. So yes, we did find that there was an additional information given to you. And what was the information? This was the important and crucial information that was given to us, that the line segment was divided by the x-axis. Now if it is divided by the x-axis, it means that the point of division is on the x-axis. If the point of division is on the x-axis, then that point would be of the form x comma 0. That is why instead of px comma y, now we substituted it as x comma 0. We have two coordinates equal to each other. Now I told you that we would be neglecting the first one and taking the second one in order to get the value of k, because after all, our approach is to get the value of k. So when you equate the y coordinate with the y coordinate, you get the value of k as 1. If k is 1, it means that a line gets divided in the ratio 1 is to 1. Now you have to just substitute the value of k again back into this equation, which is our step number 3. And this is how we get the point of division as well as the coordinates for the point of we get the ratio and the coordinates for the point of division. So students, with this we come to the end of today's class. In today's class, what we did is we solved a problem using section formula in which we actually calculated the ratio in which the line segment gets divided and the point of division. So our agenda for today is completed, and I would request you all to just note down these steps so that it would be useful for you to remember how to solve the problems. So students, thank you so much and see you in the next class.